We have the common lunge matrix with common shoulder to overhead presses. For the sake and the purpose of this video, we're only going to do 2 or 3 sets for each position of the lunge and for each position of the form of the press we're performing. So, sagittal plane lunge with our common shoulder to overhead presses. So, a lunge forward, shoulder to overhead press, back heel can come off the ground. That was a shoulder overhead press in the sagittal plane. Now as we lunge forward, shoulder to overhead, side to side, and then the rotation of the transverse plane press as you lunge forward. Rotate your trunk to the right, press with the right, rotate left, press with the left. We then have our lateral lunge, or same side lateral lunge, with our common shoulder to overhead press lunges. Shoulder height. We lunge, so both feet should be pointed forward. You load into that hip as if you're sitting on a chair with that right butt. So, shoulder to overhead press. Shoulder to overhead press in the sagittal plane. And now we have the shoulder overhead press in the frontal plane. Still part of our common presses. And now in the transverse plane. Rotate your trunk right, press right. Rotate your trunk left. And press left. We then have our common transverse plane lunge, in which the left leg stays pointed forward. Our right leg lunges out 135. Left knee and hip go into extension. Shoulder to overhead in the sagittal plane, and now we'll transition to the frontal and the transverse. And you'll be responsible for all the sets and the reps that I set, with performing them on the other leg. And then in the transverse plane, you lunge out, rotate trunk right, press, rotate trunk left, and press. Those are 3 basic planar common lunges. I do also add 2 more with those 3 common presses. I lunge outside the midline of the body. My shoulder to overhead press. Lunge outside the midline. Press shoulder to overhead in the frontal plane. And then shoulder to overhead as I rotate and press to the same side. I then incorporate an anterior medial lunge into the picture, different than the medial lunge that we'll do with our uncommon. What we'll do is with the left foot, we're going to cross over the midline of the body. Shoulder to overhead press. Shoulder to overhead press in the sagittal. And then in the frontal. And then in the transverse. Rotate your trunk right. Press with the right. Rotate to the left. Press with the left.